Thank you very much. Please, everyone, have a seat. Be comfortable. We got a lot to talk about. Now I gotta tell you how this show came to be. You guys know I live in Ohio. In January, when this nigga Trump and Elon made this Doge thing, cut all those government jobs, the housing market in my hometown plunged 20% in the first quarter. And I don't mean to talk like a white. But boy, they did that, didn't they? And then when this nigga deployed the National Guard in my hometown, he took the police department from the mayor. Oh, DC niggas, we don't like that. But then my governor in Ohio sent our National Guard to police my hometown. And I called these niggas and said, I'm pulling up. Because these niggas is trying to take the chocolate out of Chocolate City. I said, I gotta go home while it's still a city I remember. And then I went on Instagram and saw all the protests in D.C. It was a bunch of white people like, not on our streets. I said, oh no, it's too late. These whites are entrenched. Not on our goddamn streets, you don't. This nigga Trump was talking like he goes out to dinner. It's not like that. Yep. And I gotta tell you the truth. This is not the only city this is happening in. It's happening in California. It's happening in Oregon. It's happening in Illinois. And it's happening in Memphis. And niggas in Memphis, they might need it. You gotta be reasonable. I don't know if you've been to Memphis recently, but them niggas already stole 2 tanks from the National Guard, so you already know. You already know, you know. And I came here mad, ready to fight, but when I drove through the city, they look clean, guys. I gotta tell you, look clean. A lot better than the last time I was here. Today I only saw one guy take the shit on the street. But you know what? He had a bag. I was waiting for somebody to do something about the homeless. You know what's fucked up about DC? We're the nation's capital, and nobody even gives a fuck about the homeless. I'm telling you the truth. I feel like I'm the only one that does. Now, y'all don't know this, but quietly, for the last 2 years, I have been secretly working with Washington's homeless, and I have spent $2 million already on my homeless project. No, don't clap for me. I didn't give them food or anything like that. I just taught these niggas to Thriller dance. You got a big treat coming up on Halloween, you'll see. And I'm sorry I didn't come home sooner, but I've been very busy in Ohio. And a lot of people say, what are you doing out there? And I don't know if you know this, but this is true. I'll tell you what I've been doing. The town that I've been living in for the last 25 years, I bought most of it. I like it there. Ohio loves Trump, but this town I live in is like a little itty-bitty Bernie Sanders Island in the Trump City. All the whites are poor out the dirty hippie whites, and I like them. I like these whites. And they like me too. You know what I learned about liberal white people? Liberal white people let black people do whatever the fuck they want until you buy most of their town. Oh, they frowned on that. The whites got real suspicious, but you know what? I don't blame them. Because, no, for real, because look, if I was white and the people in this town were black, you know what they'd say? They would say I was gentrifying the town. But there's no word for what I'm doing to these people. I own everything, nigga, everything.
This dude is crazy.
I used to be mad at white people when I was young because I thought they weren't fair. But now that I have all this property, I understand them. It's fun. Feels good to walk up to white people like, are you supposed to be here? Calling the police. It's fun. I own so much property in this town, and it's true. These white people think I'm responsible for their well-being. That's ridiculous, nigga. I'm not no public servant. I'm a capitalist. I be walking down the street minding my own business, and they come to me with their concerns. Dang. Congratulations on buying the whole goddamn town. But you need to start thinking about some affordable housing around here. And I'll be like, well, actually, champ, I can afford my house. That sounds like some shit you need to worry about. Because if I think about it, I can afford your house too. So if you want to sell, come holler at your boy. I'm collecting the whole town. I'm collecting the whole goddamn town. You know, I don't know where these poor whites got the money.
I know what he's doing.
But not long ago, these motherfuckers built a brand new fire station out of blue. Where the fuck they get this money from? I was like, what the fuck is this? And then, you know what they did? They did some real racist shit. They tried to sell the old fire station at an auction when they knew I was going to be out of town. It's fucked up. But it's far too late for that. I got that whole town rigged with snitches. Them niggas couldn't wait to tell me. They was running up, my lord, I have news, my lord. I was like, what's going on? What was this you say? A firehouse? Nigga, I bought the firehouse. I turned that motherfucker into a comedy and music club. We be rocking in there. Clips been there, we all be out there rocking. Every famous person I've ever met, I asked him to play that club. I seen Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones at a party. I asked him, I said, yo, Mick. I said, Mick, you gotta come to Ohio and play my club. And he was into it. He was like, no. He said, all right. I don't like playing clubs. He said, but tell me about the town. I said, well, what do you want to know? And then they looked at me like you know, Mick Jagger, he said, are there girls there? I lied right in his face. I was like, yeah. He knew something was wrong. He's like, no. Come on, Dave, you know, the kind of girls I like. I said, Mick, I don't know what kind of girls you like. And he said, you know. You've heard my music. Are they white bitches with dirty feet? I said, Mick, you are going to love this place. Mick, these bitches will put a ring around a public pool. Dirty hippie pussy, that's what I'm dealing with.
You can't go back home.
Right. I'm not a drug guy at all, right? But I am in show business, you know what I mean? So I've been every kind of party. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I smoke weed, but I don't consider weed a drug. But you know how show business is. I've been to cocaine parties, I've been to weed parties, I've been to all the parties, and I'm just telling you the truth, what I've seen. Coke bitches are way prettier than weed bitches are. I been looking at weed bitches like, damn, bitches, you sleep in those clothes? What the fuck's wrong with you? No energy in their face. They don't wear the bra all the time so the titties be sagging. Get your dick out of my face, man. That's how we girls say. Not gonna suck your cock, man. The mouth is dry as a bone. You ever get some weed head? Feels gross, doesn't it? Feels like a cat sucking your dick. Like, what kind of...
Man, you know what? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know, man. I'm like, how do you know?
Recently in the news.
Nah, you can't skip past that, Dave.
I've been getting a lot of grief.
How do you know how that feels?
Because I did a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia. And you hear those cheers? That's black people. America's whites, they're furious. Boy, I gotta tell you something. I've never not felt guilty about something like I've never felt. I don't feel guilty at all. You know, and Bill Maher, the famous comedian, I've known Bill since I was like 18, 19 years old, and I never said this publicly, but fuck that guy. I'm so fucking tired of his little smug, cracker-ass commentary. These motherfuckers act like because I did a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, I somehow betrayed my principles. Well, no, I know. No, let me, come on everybody, let me do this.
He mad.
I'm sure, I know, all right, now everybody calm down. No, I'm sure I'm right. First of all, what did they say? They said, well, Saudi Arabia killed a journalist, and rest in peace, Jamal Khashoggi. I'm sorry that he got murdered in such a heinous fashion, but and no buts, like, you know, period, and also, I mean, look, bro, Israel's killed 240 journalists in the last 3 months, so I didn't know y'all was still counting. These niggas clown me because I was on stage in Saudi Arabia. I didn't tell them to put this in the paper. I just said it on stage. I said, it's easier to talk in Saudi Arabia for me than it is in America. And niggas felt some kind of way. Oh, I stand 10 toes on that. Don't forget what I just went through. 2 years ago, I almost got canceled right here in the United States for transgender jokes. But I gotta tell you something. Transgender jokes went over very well in Saudi Arabia. At all. I was in the pocket, nigga. I was like, where have you been? Every article said the comedians wore themselves out to a dictator, but all the articles have my picture on it. And you know what? I can't even get mad. Because, you know, to be fair, I did make more money than all of those comedians. I don't even work at Netflix no more, nigga. You know what my new job is? I sit by the phone and wait for them Arabs to call me. Can I help you guys? What do you need? I love working in the Middle East. That's my second show I did over there. I did a show 3 months before that. I was in Abu Dhabi. Them niggas had a comedy festival too. And let me tell you something. Now, y'all never been in the Middle East. Here's some wild shit about them you might not know. You know how everybody got like a dog around here? out there, they don't fuck with dogs. You know what they do? They got birds, falcons, nigga. These niggas have, as pets, they have falcons. I couldn't believe it. I went to the mall, I saw these niggas with falcons, and that shit is dope. And, you know, here in D.C., we might see like a pimp here or there, and that's... But I've never seen a nigga pimp a bird. They just have the bird, like, bring me a rabbit, and that motherfucking bird just bring this nigga a rabbit. He just give the bird a piece and eat the rest himself. So I saw that at the mall with one of these falcons. We were just talking about bullshit. And I don't know why I even thought to do this. Someone just came over me. I said, yo, nigga, let me borrow that falcon. He did it. He gave me the mitten and he gave me the falcon. Now, I've done a lot of fly shit in my life, but the most rock star shit I've ever done, you never know what this was like. I walked into an arena this size, 20,000 people screaming. I had a live falcon on my arm. Niggas went crazy. Crowd was going nuts. This is the national bird. Now, I don't know shit about the bird. Turns out, this species of falcon that was on my arm is the single fastest creature on Earth. I didn't know that. Apparently, when it hunts, it flies straight up, and then it dives down at 240 miles an hour. They clocked it at. It strikes its prey dead, and then flies off and comes back and gets whatever it killed. I didn't know that. When I was walking to the arena, the crowd was screaming. The falcon didn't get it because it had some kind of mask on.
Torpedo coming in.
But it did a trick. And I didn't know this mask is part of the falcon's training. If you take the mask off the falcon, it will think that it's time to hunt. Boy, I wish you told me that. Because I was on stage killing it, and the falcon was looking on stage like this, and I'm like, oh man, this nigga can't even see the show. So I took the mask off. Man, this falcon lost his goddamn mind, mayhem suit. That motherfucker fluttered like this and flew off my arm. And first I was clapping, yeah. And that nigga dove down 240 miles an hour. Killed a bitch in the third row. And it was a transgender bitch when it hit her, her dick popped out. Everybody screamed. I was like, oh shit.
I knew it. I knew it. Once he lit that cigarette, I knew it.
Next thing I know, the police
He was trying to get canceled.
and these niggas just ushered me off stage. I didn't realize I was under arrest. So what's the meaning of this? Clearly, these guys know it was an accident. And the next thing I know, they charged me with murder. I said, murder? The fuck was as an accident? And then they had me to court, and these niggas started reading transcripts of all my transgender jokes. Trying to act like I killed this bitch on purpose. I said, I didn't even know this bitch was trans till her dick popped out. It's a goddamn outrage. I'm an American. I still didn't think I was going to get in trouble, but at the end of the case, she's the only word in the whole trial I understood that they said, guilty. I said, what? And my whole life flashed before my eyes. I said, I wish I never came out here. You're probably wondering how I'm here tonight. Well, I didn't know this at the time, but I found out, lucky for me, killing a transgender in the Middle East, misdemeanor. Yeah, it's way easier to talk in Saudi Arabia. Jimmy Kimmel got canceled. Let me tell you something, too. Not only did they cancel Jimmy Kimmel, this guy Carr that runs the FCC had the nerve to say that Kimmel, if he wanted to get back on television, I don't know if Carr said this, or somebody said this. They said this nigga has to pay Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA Foundation money to get back on. Now think about that. No, think about it. Elon Musk bought the election for Trump because the Supreme Court said that money is free speech. Yeah, so you can spend your money however you want to speak. But if they make this nigga pay some money for some shit he doesn't believe in, well then they're compelling him to say something that he does not mean. And 6 million, oh, excuse me. Listen, I made a lot of money. But I'll take money from Saudi Arabia any day, just so I can say no over here. Feels good to be free. And I know that the people in Saudi Arabia can't say all the things that I was allowed to say. But if there's a deal, you can't say that I can say these things. So I looked at it like I was on a diplomatic mission. I gotta bring pussy jokes to the Middle East. Because they got all that pussy over there and they can't even talk about it. I said, I'll do it. Shit ain't what it used to be, is it? This nigga Buff got 50 months. I don't like talking about this, but I'm gonna do it. Here's my thing about Puffy. And I gotta state my bias. Years ago, I got attacked on stage in California at the Hollywood Bowl. Now, this was a long time ago. At this time, Charlie Kirk was alive and well. This is another reason it's hard to talk in America, because, you know, if you talk for a living and see Charlie Kirk get murdered that way, you know, be honest, nigga, I was shook. I mean, Charlie Kirk is the wholesome white guy, and they killed this motherfucker. I said, these whites. We've never seen him like this. You're playing for keeps. And then remember, the next day in the news, when all the information was still shoddy, they came out, they were like, apparently there were transgender messages inscribed on the bullets. I was at home like, oh no! I'm Dave's fried chicken! And then weeks later they said what was written on the bullets. One of the bullets had Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella, Bella, Bella Ciao written on it. Another bullet had written on it, if you're reading this, you're gay. I was at home like, nigga, I'm gonna see these bullets. How the fuck is this nigga writing whole paragraphs on bullets? How big are these bullets? What is this nigga, a watchmaker? He can inscribe all this shit on a bullet? I'm not making light of Charlie Kirk dying, but I'm not sure what it means. And I'm not sure I believe what they say it means. I'll tell you what I don't believe. And the whites were quick to say this. They said, Charlie Kirk is this generation's Martin Luther King. No, he's not. Yeah, that's a reach. You know, they both got murdered in a terrible fashion. They both got shot in the neck, but that's about where those similarities ended. Charlie Kirk is a motherfucking internet personality.
Yeah, but Martin Luther King was a character.
Internet
That's
niggas
documented.
are negative.
I can't wait to Trump when he saw that shit.
Because nobody will engage them unless they say shit that makes them upset.
And when that happens, it's over for
Charlie
us.
Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
Could you imagine Dr. King was
We
behaving
had a
like
little
Charlie
movement.
Kirk?
They released the Martin Luther King power. It's over for the black community. Everything we stood for is over. It's over with. It's gonna get real hard for us.
I believe all black people should be free. Change my mind. The Congress took a vote.
That's why I celebrate Malcolm X.
Yeah.
By any means necessary.
Everybody voted for it.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm not gonna boo it. You can remember that nigga if you want to. And remember him however you want to. But I do know that most of those congressmen voted for that because they're afraid of political violence. I'm telling you, it's easier to talk to Saudi Arabia. I was on stage not long ago in the States, and niggas got mad because I said, you know, maybe Puff will get off. And I said, I hope so. And the crowd was like, dude. Okay, look, it's not that I think Puff is right, but when I got attacked in LA at the Hollywood Bowl, people forget Puff was the guy that tackled my attacker. He saved my life. It's a hard nigga to be mad at after that. I had security that night, you know what I mean? They weren't ready. Them niggas had some slippery shoes on. The sun they ran out. All them niggas slipped and fell. And Puffy got my attacker and tackled him. And then years later, when I heard about that baby oil, I was like, what did those niggas slip on? $1,000 of baby oil, that's a lie. Remember, he wasn't on trial for having $1,000 of baby oil because it's not a crime to have $1,000 of baby oil. It's gross. It's not illegal. I'm gonna tell you something else I haven't said. This is true. In LA one night, I thought I've been to Puffy's house. No, I didn't see none of the stuff they said in that trap. I walked to that nigga's living room, house was clean, traction on the floor, nothing slippery, walk right through. Perfectly normal evening. The only thing, in hindsight, but at the time it didn't mean nothing to it. I didn't think about it until after I found all that stuff out. Hindsight was fucked up. We was on his back patio. We was drinking and laughing, talking, and then nigga Puff started swirling his drink like this. And he goes, so Dave. He goes, what do you eat? You know me, I don't know. I was like, I don't know, these books, video games. I didn't know that was my big chance to fuck Cassie. God bless her. I'm not making light of her. What she went to do was terrible. But remember, because they kept showing this video of him beating her up in a hotel hallway. It was a terrible video. But he wasn't on trial for that. You remember, he paid her for that before the federal charges came up. He paid her $35 million, is what I heard. Which doesn't make it right, but I mean, come on, I do know niggas that have fought Floyd Mayweather for less money than that. And them niggas had to fight for 36 minutes. But Cassie is a gangster. She did something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. She had to testify about her sex life. Boy, that's tough. God save us all from that. Anything you say about sex publicly is going to sound bad. Even if you're talking about fucking your wife face to face. If the judge like, tell me about when you, did you fuck your wife face to face? Yes, Your Honor, I did. But what could you describe the, well, yes, I looked at her in her cold, bored eyes, and then I pulled those big panties aside, and it's like a bush that just screams, I don't give a fuck, and I just, you know what I mean? Just power through it, you know what I mean? Cassie had to do way harder than that. Them questions, they was asking her all kinds of Dick Sean Combs. teeth in your mouth. I was like, oh my God. She didn't hesitate. Yes, Your Honor, if it please.
This dude going to hell, man. They still got a problem. It's to her.